but we didn't bring rain chances back into the forecast basically Tuesday through Friday, and some of those could have embedded strong thunderstorms, just like we've been seeing basically for the better part of the last few days. So logging into the National Weather Service chat to get an update on that. Again, still dealing with this tornado warning for about 8 more minutes. We'll see at that point if we're able to allow it to expire or if it's still showing signs of rotation as it comes through the I-45 corridor here in the next several minutes. I will say, from what I'm seeing on our radar, it does not look as impressive as it did before. So let me switch radars just to see if that's... Looks a little bit stronger on this particular radar product. Again, still seeing that rotational signature in there. It is not backing off, unfortunately, as we continue to see it travel to the east. Oops. Switched over to our 7-day forecast there. All right, so what you're seeing on your screen there was a little bit of the videos and pictures that we were looking at earlier. And, you know, obviously, we want you to be safe as possible, but if you have an opportunity after storms pass or anything like that to send us pictures and videos, obviously we always use those on air when we can. In fact, while I'm getting this set up, let's go back to some of those pictures and videos, see if we can we take any of them full screen? Do we have any way to do that? All right, it's a little bit out of our viewing area, but yeah, rain falling all over Texas today. I am having some issues logging into my National Weather Service chat. Okay, let's go back to radar because we just did get an update. Unfortunately, that tornado warning has been extended, so we are still showing signs of rotation. So in place of where we would typically have your 5 o'clock news stories, we are going to have to continue to track this system as it continues to push off to the east. This tornado warning now extended through 6 p.m., and it does extend all the way to the edge of Leon County. So what we're expecting here, it will continue to move across the area. One of a few things can happen here. Either it will move out of the viewing area, and then it will be onto the Houston viewing area, or it will dissipate, and we'll see this be allowed to expire or canceled, or third, we'll see everything kind of hopefully come to an end very soon. So again, I do want to double check what's happening with the National Weather Service, so we're going to let that radar run. I'm going to walk over to my computer and I'm going to pull it up over there. All right, so here's So according to the National Weather Service, Leon County circulation continued to weaken right around 5 o'clock. It was less organized, but it's still severe, though. Had a hail and a wind threat at the time. Given that the Leon County cell has a history of producing tornadoes and that there is still decent rotation present, reissuing the tornado warning for the rest of eastern Leon County. So we don't have anything confirmed in the Leon County storm. However, it is still continuing to show signs of rotation. That is why we continue to see this warning be issued and reissued and extended. And right now it extends through all of Leon County until 6 o'clock. I do want to sort of reset though and show our entire area because we are still dealing with rain elsewhere across the area as well. As you can see back to the west, if you're in Bell County right now, we're seeing rain falling across the area. Same story in Falls County up and towards McLennan County, and those are areas where we've already seen, I showed you the estimated totals of 4 to 7 inches. We're seeing more rain in those areas now, so that will continue to add to those issues where we were seeing the videos of the flooding and the potential lowered the low water crossings. So I say this, turn around, don't drown. It doesn't matter how deep the water is. Just by eyeballing it, you're not going to be able to tell how deep it is. It takes about a foot to move a car, but even less than that can take your tires off the road, unfortunately. If you're in a truck, it takes about 2 feet to move, but again, still, when we see these situations where it just trains across the area, we are dealing with the potential of seeing 1 to 2 feet when we see those lower water crossings. We are dealing with this as well in the Brazos Valley, rain falling across parts of College Station and down towards the southern parts of the Brazos Valley as well, towards Washington and Grimes counties. South of College Station, heavy rain falling there. Just to the west of Navasota, seeing some heavy rain there, kind of where the Brazos and the Navasota come together, the confluence there, as they continue to flow on towards the Gulf. So heavy rain, not seeing the severe activity with these storms, but we are seeing plenty of rain falling across the area. Do want to double check on our tornado warning though. Of course, that is the big story right now. It continues to be the big story. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rotation within the storm. And just to basically the southwest of Buffalo, that's the area we're looking at, crossing Highway 79, now moving towards I-45. In fact, imminently here in the next several minutes, we'll see the storm attempt to cross I-45 as it continues its track to the northeast. Once it does so, it could cause some problems here. We saw another very similar system in Freestone County earlier today cross over I-45. So this is a well-traveled highway. This is a huge passageway from Dallas to Houston, very well traveled every single day. Always a number of cars on I-45, so this could be a dangerous situation here in the next several minutes as this storm continues to track over I-45. Right now, out of Jewett, out of Marquay, that was about I want to say about 30 minutes ago, is coming out of Marquay and moving towards Jewett, now again moving towards I-45, and then as it moves out of the I-45 corridor, will continue through the eastern reaches of Leon County. Still moving at about 30 miles per hour, not exactly hauling across the area today, unfortunately. That's why this has been, one of the reasons why this has been such a long-lived event, is because these storms are just not moving all that quickly. But as it continues on its track, Lone Star High School, 537. Obviously, it's Sunday. We're not dealing with school right now, but if you know where Lone Star High School is, that gives you an idea of where this is tracking towards. Flow by 539, Box Creek School there by about 610, Grapeland by 631, and then Milan School by 634. So this warning goes till 6 o'clock, but as you've seen, we could see it be extended. But we're just watching it until it gets to that Leon County line. After that, we lose our viewership on the storm, and then we'll be allowed to kind of put that to rest. Hopefully, though, the goal, my hope, is that we see this storm dissipate and come to an end before that, hopefully in the relatively near future. But again, still showing those strong signs of rotation within the middle of this storm, and that is where, if there is a tornado present with this system, that is where it would be. Again, tracking towards Lone Star High School here in the next about 20 minutes at about 30 miles per hour off to the northeast. So that is the big story. It has been all day long. All right, again, zooming out, taking a wider look at the area. Not seeing, on our velocity scans, you're not seeing any other signs of rotation anywhere, which is good news. On our reflectivity scans, you are seeing those two arms of rain falling across the area, across parts of Falls County, back towards Bell County. That flash flood warning now in effect for Falls, Limestone, and into Freestone as well. So a lot of rain has fallen, a lot of rain still to come, because even after this comes to an end tonight, we're dealing with a situation where from Tuesday through Friday, we could be seeing showers and thunderstorms basically throughout the next several days. We'll get a little bit of a break tomorrow. You can see there is a clearing line here that will push through the area as we head through the day on Monday, but by Tuesday, the rain back into the forecast. So that's what we're dealing with. Again, the thing thing that we have to keep talking about, we can't stop talking about this, is our tornado warning for Leon County. We can reset, we can talk about the rain, do all these things, but this is obviously the most important piece of the puzzle right now as this area of rotation continues to push through Leon County, pushing right now towards I-45. And as it crosses I-45, could cause some issues if it is producing a tornado. But yes, you can see some of those tightly wrapped reds and greens here in the middle of this storm. This has kept that energy throughout the entirety of this time period. And we said, when it was back in Falls County, we said as it moved into the Brazos Valley, as it moved deeper into the Brazos Valley, that's where that more moisture-rich air was, the more instability was there. So we knew it would either A, get stronger, or B, just continue to hold on. And it is just continuing to hold on. We're not seeing it necessarily get stronger, but we're also not seeing that rotation go away, unfortunately. So we're keeping a very close eye on that here over the next, let's say, about 40 minutes or so, as long as this tornado warning is in effect. Hopefully, once again, I mentioned it just a second ago, hopefully we can get this to dissipate before then, so we can not have that danger present in the area. But right now, that's exactly what we're dealing with right now, unfortunately. So, what are we looking at in terms of hail with this storm? So the rotation obviously is the big piece, but we also want to talk about that. If you're on Highway 7 coming out of Centerville, we're seeing a relatively strong hail core right along Highway 7 with hailstones of close to an inch. That is obviously very large, very close to severe. And so something that also needs to be noted, aside from the obvious tornado threat, we also have a hail threat with this storm as well. You can see that's a slightly different cell. Obviously the cell we're seeing the rotation in is right here. This is actually a different cell altogether. And so again, just a lot of activity all back in a row. And you see the heavy rain extends all the way back down through Leon County, down towards Madison County and towards Brazos County as well. So there's a lot happening here in this part of the world. As far as the rest of central Texas, you know, the Brazos Valley is where the major storms are, but rain continues to fall across the area all the way back to Temple and Salado, areas that have already seen a lot of rain today. Flash flood warnings in effect for Falls County, for Limestone, and for Freestone County as well. And you can see the back half of that tornado warning has been allowed to expire. Obviously it's past 5:15 now. We are now on to just this one tornado warning remaining. And this is for mostly the eastern half and central Leon counties. I do want to check that rotation one more time. And you can see it's relatively tight on there. I do want to double check the National Weather Service chat again to see if there's any confirmation of anything. All right, so not a lot of updates here. We are dealing with, I showed you that hail core within this storm as well, that is to the east of Centerville. That's where we saw the big hail before. There's also a little bit of rotation there. So again, two what we call supercells that are sort of right up against each other moving through this area. So these tornado warnings started at right around 2 o'clock, and these storms have held together for 3 hours and the better part of about 60 to 70 miles. You can see right now moving through parts of Leon County. Do want to see if that rotation is crossing I-45 right now, because it was close the last time we checked. And you can see it is very close to I-45. If not crossing now, then will be imminently here in the next several minutes And again, a well-traveled highway between Dallas and Fort Worth. Or between Fort Worth and Houston, Dallas and Houston. That's what I was trying to say there. I just couldn't spit it out. So obviously a lot of traffic, even on a Sunday. Could be people traveling, coming back from a vacation, going on a vacation. Could be people that are going back to College Station who maybe take the 45 to 190 route. Any number of reasons why people would be on I-45 at this hour, and unfortunately that storm is currently in the process of crossing over I-45. So that's what we're keeping an eye on, and that's why we're keeping an eye on it right now. It does have a history of producing tornadoes. That much has been seen by spotters. And so definitely a dangerous situation. And it looks like okay. So now, so I mentioned we had two basically supercells in the same place. So what you're seeing here is this storm that's now moving towards Malvern. That is also under a tornado warning as well. So you can see this has been extended a little bit. And so we have this area and this area. So this one tracking again to the northeast should go just to the north of Malvern. This storm continues right now to track across I-45. Those are the two areas of concern, both showing rotation in these cells. I do want to double check this storm out in front. I wasn't seeing it before, but again, if I change radars, then we might get a better view of what's going on. Okay, so yes, and you can see the rotation right there. So this is the front storm. Let's take a look at the back storm. It's approaching I-45. I believe, Michael was just telling me in my ear, we have a shot from a TxDOT traffic cam at I-45 and 79, if I believe. So let's take a look. And yeah, you can see lots of rain. Can we pop up with me? Here, I don't want to magically appear, so I'll step out. And then if you just want to pop up production 1, and just let me know. Okay, so there we go. All right, so you're seeing low cloud base, you're seeing lots of rain, see the very slow traffic, people, 18-wheelers and cars driving with their hazards on right now because of how heavy the rain is, lowered visibility because of the heavy rain, but again, you see that kind of the lowering in the clouds. I believe this is this looking south? Well, actually, I would imagine this is probably looking north because the southbound traffic is going slower. That would be my guess. But again, yeah, very dark, lots of rain, and we've been talking about the tornado threat. That's not the only threat, and you just saw a flash of lightning there. That's not the only threat. There's a lot of rain. Of course, if you're traveling down the highway, especially some of our rural roadways, with this heavy rainfall, it gets very difficult to see. And of course, the drainage on I-45 is decent, but even with the rates that we're seeing, could still be seeing some issues with hydroplaning as you're driving down the roadways today because of the amount of rain that we've had, and the amount of rain not only that we've had today, but over the last several days as well. So let's go back to our radar image. Again, still seeing just that little bit of rotation there between Centerville and Malvern. So that is an area to be concerned about now too. Both in kind of the same neighborhood here. One crossing I-45. You saw all that traffic going very slow in the southbound lanes, likely because that storm is approaching I-45. The southern area of rotation now pushing towards Malvern. If you're in Malvern, I would definitely suggest being in your safe space. Yeah, this does not necessarily look as impressive a rotation as the storm behind it, but anytime we have these tornado warnings, definitely want to be prepared. All right, it looks like maybe that was the I-45 at Centerville. Either way, though, you still were able to see very slow traffic, very heavy rainfall moving across the area. So this tornado warning has been extended into Houston County until 6:15 because of this area, again, moving towards Malvern there. So that's along Highway 7. A little area of rotation out in front of our primary area of rotation. I do want to double check on that because we've been talking about this for a little while. We took a look at the other shots. Let's go ahead and take a look back at the storm we've been working on for the better part of the last few hours. And so there it is again, crossing basically just to the south of Buffalo across I-45. So that's kind of the primary concern. Again, it's not showing those tight classic signs of rotation that it was before, but whenever we see these reds and greens coming together, we are dealing with rotation. And this storm does have a history of producing tornadoes. And because of that, that's why we extend the tornado warning to continue, because anytime we see any rotation at the surface, which is what we're seeing, surface of the storm that is, we want to make sure that we are keeping you informed, keeping you weather aware as these storms continue to push on, because if they have a history of producing tornadoes, they can always produce another one down the line until they start to dissipate, until they weaken. So we are on KCEN, about to go to NBC Nightly News, but we're going to stay with you on KAGS and, of course, on our live stream on 6 Plus, KCENTV.com, and on Facebook Live. And I think we have, what, about another minute, 30 seconds or so until Nightly News starts. Okay. So we'll continue tracking storms. If anything pops up in central Texas, of course, we'll be back on KCEN on Channel 6, and we'll be back for the news at 10 p.m. For now, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Farrell. We're staying with you again on KAGS and on all of our streaming platforms. Okay, so we're still with you on KAGS, we're still with you on all of our streaming platforms, still dealing with this tornado warning situation that we've been dealing with basically for about 3 hours. Now, we saw the squall line come through a little bit earlier today. That didn't bring much in the way of severe weather. It was mostly just heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. About 9:45, we did see a tornado warning for Falls County, but that was very short-lived, only about 15 minutes. And then it was canceled. It wasn't even allowed to expire. It was straight up canceled because the rotation dissipated so quickly. So not a concern there. A little bit of a harbinger of things to come, though, because we have now since had a tornado warning for parts of Limestone and Freestone County, and a tornado warning that started back in Falls County, and has now moved through Robertson County, and is now about halfway through Leon County in the Brazos Valley. This has been a very long-lived system. It's not in any way a situation where this has been a tornado on the ground the whole time. But it has been a situation where this storm has a history of producing tornadoes, some of which have been spotted by spotters, other times just funnel clouds that weren't in contact with the ground, other times we have seen wall clouds. But in any event, a very dangerous storm that has been tracking across the area for quite a while. And now we have even a secondary area of rotation that we have since put out a tornado warning for, and that's near Malvern, down in southern Leon County. So there's your rotation. Again, kind of a little bit north of 7, near Malvern. That will very shortly be crossing over the Trinity River into Houston County. And so then we'll turn that particular system over to the Houston networks. But for us, yes, we are still dealing with the center of rotation. It's been tracking for, like I said, 3 hours now. Moved through Marquay. Moved very close to Bremond, in fact, just a little bit south of Bremond when it crossed Highway 6, right there just a little bit after where 14 and 6 come together, and then continued tracking to the east-northeast. But again, if you're in Malvern, now's the time to be taking cover, of course, because this storm is bearing down on you as we speak. In fact, as I show a different velocity scan from our Houston radar, you can kind of see that area. We have a couple of different areas of concern, and it's sometimes a little bit difficult to pinpoint exactly where that rotation is, but we are looking here right along the Trinity River and here right along Malvern. It's likely going to be in this area, likely just to the north of Malvern, crossing the Trinity River now into Houston County. So that's what we're dealing with there. That one is just about out of our purview. But again, the storm near Buffalo, south of Buffalo, crossing over I-45, continues to spin, continues to rotate. However, I will say on this most recent scan, it looks very unorganized. So I'm going to go check the National Weather Service chat. Let's see, I have to go over to the other computer to do so, so I'm going to step off screen. I want to see what they're thinking, because it looks to me like this is growing more and more unorganized as we move forward. All right, so main area of rotation, again, looking at our National Weather Service chat, main area of rotation is going to be near Eunice. Main circulation is just east of Eunice in Leon County. So that's State Highway 7, about 14 miles east of Centerville. So that's the one we were looking at that was near Malvern just a second ago. So we're going to zoom in, see if we can't find Eunice on our map. So just east of Eunice is where they're looking. So I'm going to switch this over to a different radar so we can get a better view. So let's look at the Houston radar. So we're looking down Centerville along Highway 7. This area is, I believe, where they're looking at that main area of rotation, not necessarily this one up to the north. Also, again, we're still dealing with that area back to the west as well. Yep, moving east parallel to Highway 7. So that's basically what we've been saying as well. Okay, so you can see most of Leon County now in the clear. All that's left is just the far eastern reaches there near the Trinity River. Again, we're going to look inside the storm for those areas of rotation. And it looks like potentially that the DFW radar is the winner. It looks like it's giving us the best view of what's going on. And of course, if you're joining us on the 6+ live stream, also still dealing with rain well back to the west here in Bell County for sure. Can definitely hear that as it comes down on the roof of the building. And that's the other side of it. We've been dealing with rain throughout the day as well. Lots of it. Some areas, according to our Doppler radar, indicating potentially up to 7 inches of rain. Obviously, that's an estimate, not verified, not confirmed, but that is what we were seeing earlier when we did our Doppler radar estimates. So I believe we're moving a little too far to be able to use the Killeen radar. That's the Killeen radar. This is the Fort Worth radar. And it does look like that center of rotation has shifted a little bit to the east there, more towards, like we said, Eunice, Malvern, that area, moving parallel to Highway 7, about to move across the Trinity River into Houston County here over the next several minutes. So, just to recap, tornado warning in effect, eastern Leon County for about another 20 minutes. Continue to watch this storm track across. It had two very distinct centers of rotation. Now it looks more like there is just the one center that we're dealing with, and that was near Eunice, near Malvern. But as this storm is moving out of the area, we do have some rain, some heavy rain, back to the west. Here's what we're going to do. Michael, can you hear me in the back? We're going to go ahead and send KAGs back to their regular scheduled programming. If you're on the stream with us, we're going to keep the radar going, but I am going to step off for just a little while as that tornado warning, the tornado warned storm is on the process of moving out of the area. It is north of Highway 7 and it is about to cross the Trinity River. So we're going to go ahead and get KAGs back to their regularly scheduled programming for the time being, and we're going to let radar continue to run on our 6 Plus app and our digital platforms. Thank you, though, for joining us this afternoon and staying weather aware with us. Okay, perfect. Okay. Good Sunday evening, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Matt Farrell still here with you on this Sunday night, tracking severe weather across parts of Central Texas and the Brazos Valley. We have another tornado warning for the Brazos Valley. This one moving from Grimes County now into Madison County. The reason I wanted to go ahead and break into programming is because this one is heading towards Madisonville, so a little bit more of a populated area, moving right up Highway 90. And as it does so, carrying that rotation with it, as well as potentially hail and strong winds as well. So let's take a look at the rotation scans, see what we're dealing with here. And you can kind of see some broad rotation there. Let me change the radar station that we're using. And we're going to go with the nearest site. All right, so the area we're looking at here is just to the southeast of Madisonville, kind of between 190 and 90 there. Looks like this area right here where we would expect that rotation to be should stay just to the east of Madisonville. This is moving fairly well north, more than northeast right now, so it's going to cross 190 here in the next several minutes. Again, broad rotation being seen here. Tornado warning in effect. This one is for Madison County, and it does last until for the next several minutes. So let's go ahead and double check. And this tornado warning in effect until 7 o'clock, so the next 20 minutes. We're watching this travel to the northeast. Again, rotation spotted within this storm, so definitely potentially tornadic situation moving basically right on towards Madisonville right now. And that again, of course, is the reason why we wanted to go ahead and jump in on this evening. So we're looking at this again through Madisonville over the next 10 minutes. We're watching that center of rotation as it continues to move to the north-northeast at about 25 miles per hour. The hazards, of course, with this are the potential of a tornado. We don't have a confirmed tornado with this one right now, but also with quarter-sized hail. So sub-severe hail, that's not the issue. Of course, the issue is the rotation, which has been the issue basically since about 2 o'clock today. This is our third or fourth tornado-warned storm that we've been dealing with throughout the afternoon. Again, let me show you where that rotation is, just located to the west of Highway 90. Again, moving northeast towards Madisonville. And again, if you're in Madisonville, probably hearing the sirens already, you want to take shelter. Again, lowest room of your house, interior room, away from any exterior windows, of course, as this storm continues to approach your area. As it comes through Madisonville, of course, the next thing it will do will be to cross I-45. So again, a highly trafficked highway being targeted by one of these very strong storms again today. Very dangerous situations as these storms continually moving towards I-35 and I-45 over the last few days. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our National Weather Service chat, where of course we have access to storm spotters and the such, and we'll see if there is any more information from eyes on the ground, of course. Definitely radar indicated some rotation within the storm. We definitely want to see what's going on. And as a matter of fact, yes, it does look like we have a spotted, is that current? Sorry, before I say any of this on air, I do want to make sure that this is current, because it looks like, from what we're seeing from some ham radio operators in our National Weather Service chat, it looks like there is a very large tornado that was spotted just to the south of Madisonville. Very large tornado, if this is accurate. I want to see when this was posted. 6:37, so posted about 5 minutes ago. Yes, a storm spotter posting on X about a massive wedge tornado south of Madisonville. So that's the situation that we're dealing with right now. That's where you're seeing these reds and these greens coming together. If that tornado is still on the ground, this is the area where it would be. West of 90, south of 190, moving off to the northeast. This is, if again, As we're looking at what storm spotters are posting on to social media, this could be a very large, very dangerous tornado moving off to the northeast. So definitely something that we need to keep an eye on here over the next several minutes. Again, not seeing much else with this situation other than the tornado. Not seeing much in the way of hail, possibly quarter-sized hail, very small there. But this tornado warning does extend through Madisonville and up through Madison County and towards Leon County and Houston County here over the next several minutes. So something that we are definitely keeping an eye on here. This now goes until 7:15, so it's been extended in another 15 minutes as it continues to track to the northeast. Again, if the pictures that I'm seeing are something that is currently happening, then this is a very dangerous situation. Okay, so if we could, I don't know if that might be a little too far north. You can see the storm, you can see the rain, but if we had something near Madisonville, that would be perfect, but okay. And again, maybe hard to see even if we have a camera in that area. Okay, you can see very heavy rainfall. People driving with their flashers on. Lots of rain associated with this too. If we're looking southbound, then that would be looking right towards where that storm is. And here's another issue that we're running into is lots of rainfall with this. So again, even if that tornado is tracking to the northeast towards Madisonville, going to be difficult to see because of the rain in the area. So that's why it's very important that we have the storm spotter network that we use so that we can see some of these things and give you an idea, heads up of where they are. So that's what we're dealing with right now, looking out of Madisonville to the south. So let's go back to the radar. See, getting darker by the second here. Again, this is potentially a large tornado that we just saw a picture of on social media, potentially moving towards Madisonville, very large, if this pictures, again, are still accurate and if it's still on the ground. So we're checking with the National Weather Service chat again. Because this is potentially very large. Okay, and yeah, so now the National Weather Service is putting out their yeah, if we could get that up and going. Does he know when it was shot? Okay. Yeah, so this is what we're talking about. This is very similar to the video. It could be the same. Yeah, Tornado Cowboy, that's the storm chaser that we were looking at that was talking in the National Weather Service chat. Very large tornado, potentially on the ground, potentially a funnel cloud, potentially a tornado. Hard to tell from this vantage point, especially with the trees, if it's on the ground right now. But these wedge tornadoes usually produce very strong winds, of course, and the size is usually an indication. Sorry? Uploaded at 6:37, so entirely possible. Now here we are at 6:47, 10 minutes later. This could still be on the ground, or if it was on the ground before, could still be on the ground. Again, potentially a funnel cloud would have to be in contact with the ground for it to be considered a tornado. Hard to tell with the trees. It did say in the social media post, I believe, that this was a wedge tornado, so that would imply that it is in contact with the ground. Could still be, again, it's only been about 10 minutes. We see these very large tornadoes. They can be long-lived. They can also be very powerful. So let's go back to the radar. I want to see where this is exactly as we continue to track it as it moves off to the northeast. Again, what we're doing is we're looking for that center of rotation. And it'd be this area, again, just right along 190, just south of Madisonville. Again, moving potentially just to the west of Madisonville, potentially through Madisonville. If you're in Madisonville, this is potentially a very dangerous situation. So you absolutely want to be in your safe spot, that lowest level of your house. And so we've been dealing with this basically for the better part of the day. You can see a lot of the videos that have been sent to us over the course of the day, and this is just the latest in a string of tornado warnings, primarily for the Brazos Valley, a little bit for Central Texas, but primarily for the Brazos Valley. You can see funnel cloud potentially there, and then this Texas storm chasers, they're out on a lot of these storms as well. Several pictures of what could be funnel clouds, and of course the main one that we're dealing with right now from about 10 minutes ago, that one there by the Tornado Cowboy. So lots of chasers out today, a very active weekend. It's been active basically since Friday. And so, it's tornadoes. It's also been high waters. We've heard of multiple vehicles getting stuck in parts of central Texas as the rain just continues to fall across the area. Lots and lots of rain across the area, and you can see heavy rain, obviously diminishing visibility. Even with these tornado-warned storms, we talk about the impact of the tornado. The other thing that we've been talking about is there's a lot of rain falling with these storms, and it can make driving conditions very dangerous. Straight line winds, of course, also very dangerous with these storms. Haven't really seen a lot of hail. We've had a few reports of 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch hail, but just a few. It hasn't been a consistent thing throughout the day. It's been primarily the tornado threats that we've been dealing with here over the past few hours. So let's go back to radar. Again, tracking just to the west of Madisonville here, again, across Highway 190, coming up towards I-45. And it will be doing so here over the next 10 to 15 to 20 minutes as we continue to track this storm. So I just want to I want to double check a few things. I want to make sure I can clarify where this storm is, because this is may not be the best scan that we have. I want to make sure we're using the best scan that we can. Okay, that one might be even a little bit better. Again, looking in this area right here, again, just to the southwest of Madisonville, but moving northeast. So could impact parts of the city of Madisonville. If you're in Madisonville, you're likely hearing the sirens. It is, now would be the time to be in your safe place, because again, that video that we just showed you on air from the Tornado Cowboy, the storm chaser that we found on X, that looks very dangerous. That is a wedge tornado, and those are usually bigger because they're more powerful and they're a little bit longer lived as well. So that is what we're dealing with. It looks like this one here might potentially be the same storm, what we're looking at. Can we pull open his X page? I want to see if he has any commentary on this. I know we were able to with the Tornado Cowboy page. I don't know if we're able to pull his X page open to see the video and see if he has any commentary, see if this is near Madisonville. Or if it is, and you can always just confirm it by ear. But yes, gotcha. Okay, so we don't have a lot of info. Could potentially be the same storm. This one, obviously, a very clear video of a potential wedge tornado, at least a wedge funnel coming down out of this this particular thunderstorm, moving towards Madisonville. So things are starting to clear to the east a little bit, and they will continue to do so here over the next hour or two. This actually moved out of Grimes County just a little while ago, moved into Madison County, and now you can see that area of rotation moving kind of just through Madisonville. So that's what we're dealing with. Again, if you're in Madisonville, you're feeling the effects of this storm. It will continue to track to the northeast. In fact, let's go ahead and put a timing on it. Okay, so Madisonville basically here in the next few minutes would be impacted by this storm. The only other area that shows up on our list would be Parton School, and that would be 6:59, so about 7 minutes from now. That would be just a little bit north of Madisonville. So as this moves through Madisonville, of course, definitely want to be taking cover, but after that it moves into more rural areas, which that's the good news, but the bad news, of course, is that Madisonville is still sort of in that path that we're dealing with. So again, a dangerous situation for sure. We definitely have the rotation, we definitely have the tornado warning, and we definitely have some video of this storm, which would seem to show a very large wedge funnel, either funnel cloud or tornado. If it's if it's in contact with the ground, that's a tornado. If it hasn't made contact with the ground, that is a funnel cloud. A little bit harder to tell in that video because of the trees, but I don't assume anything, but when people post things and say tornado, then we're dealing typically with people that know what they're doing. All right, so here we go. Massive multi-vortex tornado, 7 miles south-southwest of Madisonville today at 6:43. Yes, so this one is from just about 6 minutes after the Tornado Cowboys video. This one about 10 minutes ago at this point. You can see maybe it's lifted a little bit. Maybe that condensation funnel hasn't quite reached the ground, But multi-vortex tornadoes, basically what that means is inside the tornado you have multiple areas of rotation that are kind of working in conjunction. Large and destructive tornado heading towards Madisonville. Power flashes have been observed. So yeah, we're losing power there in parts of Madisonville because of this storm as it continues to push through areas of power lines and generators and things like that. Let's see. And then this is the tornado cowboy again, massive wedge south of, okay, so he never actually indicated whether it was a tornado. So again, this could just be a funnel cloud, but obviously if people are seeing power flashes, that typically would imply that yes, this is in contact with the ground. This is a tornado. Can't make any assumptions without proof, but obviously if we're seeing power flashes, then it's very close to the ground, if not in contact. So where are we? We're just southwest, just west of Madisonville, potentially going through Madisonville as we speak. And again, I want to make sure we're getting the best image, but if there was a center of rotation based on this image, it would be in this area right here, just to the west of town. Tricholine, again, basically showing us that same exact area. You can see where some of the highest winds are right there. So that's giving us a very similar image. We're going to switch to Houston. Houston, that's probably the worst image we have, but again, shows you where those reds and greens are coming together just to the west of town, potentially, again, going through parts of town. Definitely in the process of crossing 190, we'll be moving towards I-45 here relatively shortly. But again, look at these. Look at some of these wraparound higher wind signatures right here. You can see that there is definitely a situation going right there. Even if this isn't the best radar for us to use, it still gives us some information. And again, you can see all the traffic kind of coming to a stop. Definitely indicates to you that here on I-45, once you get close to 21, definitely some activity going on that is causing all these cars to move very slowly, whether that's blinding rainfall basically, or whether that is potentially visibility of that potentially tornadic situation to the south of town. There is definitely something that has traffic at a standstill, and I would suggest this: you do not want to be in your car in a tornadic situation. It is not a good place to be. If that tornado crosses the highway, it can definitely be a bad situation. Underpasses are also a no-go. All they do is create a wind tunnel effect that creates even faster wind speeds underneath the overpass. I know it's one of the myths you hear as a kid. Hey, let's go to the underpass if there's a tornado situation. That is not the case. That will just create a wind tunnel effect. And also, the other thing is, if you stop your car into the overpass, now you're stopping people who may be trying to get out of the storm who are behind you. So definitely want to be in your home, or if you're in a business, you want to be on the lowest floor. That's where you want to be, or in a storm shelter, of course. But again, that area of rotation just potentially to the west of Madisonville, again, continuing to move off to the northeast right now. Let's take a look, and you can see it shifting a little bit north there. Along Highway 90 there as it gets closer and closer to I-45. Again, now that center of rotation potentially north of town. Again, keeping an eye on this because once I saw those videos on social media, I knew this had the potential to be a very dangerous situation. So that's what we're dealing with there. You can see there's a little bit of rain behind it. There's a little bit of rain still in central Texas, but this is the storm right now. It's continuing to push through Madison County. We'll eventually be pushing up into Leon County, and at that point, should run into an area that has a little bit less energy to work with. So that's what we're kind of keeping an eye on right now. But again, tornado warning in effect until 7:15, so another 18 minutes. I would say that based on the last few velocity radar scans, will likely be continued. Because it still appears to be holding together fairly strong. I know you're probably at home wondering why I keep going back to this particular product, but when it comes to tornadic situations, our velocity product is our best product that we can use. because it shows us there are areas where winds are flowing towards the radar and where areas where the wind is flowing away from the radar. So what that tells us is that it's picking up on some rotation. Now, this is a little bit of a no man's land situation. It's not terribly near Killeen, it's not terribly near Houston, it's not terribly near Fort Worth, and those are our primary radars that we have access to. So once you get here, these radar beams are again multi-thousands of feet in the air, so what you're getting is a lot of mid-level information out of this, but if it's tight enough, that usually implies that it is going down to the surface. That's where we get these tornado warnings from when they're radar indicated. This one likely initiated from radar indication, but then basically confirmed by some of those spotter videos that we were showing you a minute ago. So let's go ahead and take a look at those videos. I'm going to step off, let you take a look at some of these Twitter posts. I'm going to go check the National Weather Service chat to see if there has been any more confirmation of activity. Okay, so it doesn't look like there have been any updates on this storm. Looks like the storm in Houston County, the tornado warning will be replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning. That is for Houston County. We're still dealing with Madison County in our particular situation here. All right, we've got a radar pulled back up on screen for you. Again, we're watching this area of rotation just to the north of Madisonville. The storm continues to move off to the northeast. Got started near Bead Eyes down in Grimes County, has since moved across the county line into Madison County. And with that storm, it continues to move off to the northeast. And as it does so, there aren't a lot of communities there in northern Madison County that would be impacted, but again, the major impact being Madisonville, which of course is a populated area. In fact, as we pull out our scanner to get a track on this storm, the next nearest town that comes into play is Ash, which is in Houston County. So again, we continue to watch this storm. It continues to move off to the northeast about 25 miles per hour. We have some social media images and videos, if we could run those again, that do indicate a very large wedge-shaped tornado moving across parts of Madison County at this hour. All right. Again, thanks for staying with us on KAGS and of course on our live stream as well. Again, just a very active weather situation. Tornado warning still in effect for Madison County, but so many other things happening across the area today. Lots and lots of heavy rainfall leading to some issues on the area roadways. Several reports of cars flooded out. A couple of reports. One report out of McLennan County this morning of a downed power line due to strong winds. That was down on the street, causing some issues there as well. Here's another look at that massive wedge, again, that was just south of Madisonville, again, tracking towards Madisonville. Look at the size and scope of this particular funnel. This is what we're dealing with here when we show you that radar. This is the storm that everybody's chasing, that we're tracking on radar right now. A very large, potentially very dangerous tornado coming through Madison County right now. And you can see here, it doesn't have necessarily the condensation funnel wrapped all the way around, but you can see multiple potential vortices within this storm, multiple areas of circulation within the storm, within the tornado itself. And then of course, this last image, pretty clear as well, shows you the tornado And again, power flashes observed. Do we know for a fact that it is on the ground? We do not. However, if there are power flashes happening near Madisonville, then there is a likelihood that this is on the ground. Let's go ahead and go back to radar, take a look at that track again. Thankfully, one more time, this is moving into relatively unpopulated areas, but again, did move through Madisonville, heading towards Ash at this time. I am. Okay. So again, still tracking this very dangerous situation through Madison County, now north of Madisonville. Again, taking a look on radar, we are seeing, again, that rotation still showing up in our radar screen, again, tracking to the northeast towards Ash in Houston County. But if you are in any of these rural areas in northern Madison County, up towards the old San Antonio Road, OSR there, that's where this storm is currently tracking. So it is massively important that you seek shelter at this point, because again, the social media posts that we were looking at showed a very, very large tornado. This tornado warning currently, in its current state, you can see it right here, in effect for another 10 minutes here until 7:15 as it continues to track north of Madisonville. We're going to keep our eyes on it and see if it dissipates or if it simply just keeps going as some of these storms have been able to do all day. I'm going to change the radar product here, get a little bit better, clear view. So if something's happening, it's going to be in this general region right here, just near Madisonville. So that's what we're looking at right now. Let's go ahead and pop up those social media posts again. I do want to keep taking a look at those. And if we get any new social media posts, let's go ahead and add those to the list. This one, again, from 643, this one from 637. You can see the size of this tornado here. Again, very wide, funnel-shaped. And I say tornado, again, we don't have confirmation that this was on the ground. And, of course, this video with the trees in the way could be a funnel cloud. But then you saw in that last post, they were saying that there were potential power flashes near Madisonville, and that typically happens once it's in contact with the ground, once it is a tornado. This was at 643, 7 miles south-southwest of Madisonville, so that was, are we going on about 23 minutes ago? So hopefully we can get some new social media content in there, but for now, we're still kind of looking for that area of rotation. It does appear to be moving past Madisonville now. So let's go ahead and show that again, go back to the radar. So again, looking in this general region right here, just to the north of Madisonville, just to the west of I-45. So the question, though, is now, as this comes across I-45, is that tornado, is that funnel cloud still being produced, or have we seen it dissipate at all? That is, of course, the question we would need to answer. And of course, the only way to do that is with eyes on the ground. We have plenty of storm chasers out and about today. They've been in the area for a few days now. I'm going to go check with the National Weather Service once again to see if we have any new spotter reports. All right, so looking through, let's see, we don't have anything from any spotters, but we do have the Houston National Weather Service office is going to allow this tornado warning to continue. So we issue these tornado warnings, and then we double check on them every now and then. And it, you determine whether you want to cancel it or let it continue. We are letting it continue. This storm does have a history of what appears to be a very strong thunderstorm, of course, near Madisonville. We've been talking about that. Continuing to move north through the county, and as it does so, it will continue to have the ability to produce a tornado as it continues to move through the area. Let's put everything in motion so you can see where it's headed. Not terribly quickly, about 25 miles per hour moving off to the northeast or so. And again, getting very near to Madisonville at this hour. So if you're in Madisonville, still definitely want to be in those shelters, in those safe places, because the storm is still very near the town, still has every capability of producing a tornado. If you've seen the pictures and videos we've been showing, it obviously has a history of doing just that. So again, still watching this storm. And again, trying to pinpoint the exact location of where that rotation might be. It looked like it might have been north of Madisonville. This is a really clear image. It might be just along 190 at this point as well. So again, trying to pinpoint exactly where that rotation is. Okay. Oh, I liked that last video. We should pull that back up. Okay, so take a look at this video up in the upper right-hand corner. When we say power flashes, let it replay. There we go. You can see what we're talking about. This is a potential tornado that is taking out power lines, going through generators, things of that nature, creating those flashes. That, of course, leads to power outages, which can then exacerbate problems because then you're without power, you're without ways to potentially get warnings unless you have those battery-operated National Weather Service radios, which I've talked about all week. But all videos of potentially the same storm, and so this is what we're dealing with right now. You can see how large this tornado potentially is. You can see the multiple vortices within the tornado, and then here's a slightly different image, and then of course this one showing the damage it is potentially doing as it continues through Madison County, right around Madisonville. So again, if you're in Madisonville, if you're not in your safe space, you need to be in your safe space because this tornado is bearing down on the town. It's a little more difficult because on our radar, it's in the middle of no man's land with these radars. So I've been trying to pinpoint it. It looked a little bit earlier like maybe the center of rotation was in this general region, potentially still south of town, still potentially right around Highway 190, but definitely moving northeast and will impact the city of Madisonville. So that is something that we need to be very aware of here over the next several minutes. If that is where our center of rotation currently is, then its motion would carry it through Madisonville and then right around 7:20, so here over the next several minutes, and then through Parton School by 7:21, and then back up, as we showed you, towards Ashe in Houston County. So again, looking for that center of rotation, potentially just south of Madisonville, potentially just to the west of Madisonville right now. That's what we're dealing with as we speak. Has not been extended. The warning has not been extended just yet. It is set to expire in about 4 minutes, so we'll see if that is allowed to continue. My gut, based on the velocity scans, tells me that yes, it would be allowed to continue. It does appear to be some relatively strong rotation within this storm, but in another about 4 minutes, we will find out the answer to that question. Again, the other thing we can do when in doubt about our radar scans is to check with some of the other radars in the area. Once these storms get into that no man's land that I was talking about, it becomes a little bit more difficult because it's so far from any given station that these beams are well up into the atmosphere before they get there. So for instance, this is the Dallas-Fort Worth radar site. It does not give me clean information to work with. So either it's just too far from the station, or the rotation is starting to break up, but I don't think that's the case. This one is our Colleen radar. Again, doesn't give us a super clear image, but again, if there is an area of rotation, it is going to be right in this area, right along Highway 190 near Madisonville, if not in Madisonville right now. Again, another highly trafficked highway there, 190. Of course, folks coming down from Dallas going back to school, maybe they went home for the weekend, they're coming back for the school week at Texas A&M. A lot of people travel down I-45 and then use 190 to cut over. So, you know, Madisonville is kind of a crossroads for those folks. So this is a dangerous situation on what could be a potentially highly trafficked highway. The Houston radar site, again, a little bit of a muddled image. So most of these are starting to give us some muddled images. And again, there's a couple of reasons why. One being the fact that this is potentially right between several different radar stations. But this one would indicate that that center of rotation is more in this general region. It looks to me like it's still right around Highway 190. And that would bear that out on our Killeen radar site as well. If we try Austin, Austin is entirely too far away for that to be of any use. Go back to Fort Worth. The Fort Worth radar site, that image is very muddied, but again, looks like it's right in the vicinity of 190, whether if a little bit north or a little bit south right now. And again, we'll stick with Killeen because it kind of gives us an idea of where this tornadic system might be. Still here with you, just checking on a few things with our National Weather Service chat, seeing if there have been any updates. I will be back momentarily. All right, so not seeing any updates at the moment. We'll check again momentarily, but again, still tracking this area of rotation at what appears to be a very large potential tornado here, tracking right around Madisonville, moving northeast right now, along basically moving towards 90, towards 45. We'll be doing so here over the next several minutes. And again, it is now 7:15, so we can double check to see if that tornado warning has allowed to be extended. And yep, and you can see it has been extended until 7:45. So we're watching this storm. It's going to come out of Madison County, according to our warning box, and into Houston County. So again, moving a little bit more east of northeast than it was before, taking maybe a little bit of a right jog. So as I'm looking for clues, right, because our velocity scans are a little muddied, I'm looking for things like this, a little inflow notch right here. So again, that area of rotation, as we said, likely right around Highway 190 right now, just to the west of town there. So since that was extended, let me see if there have been any updates, because there likely have been. Yep, so it is right where we have been and saying it was. Circulation, an announcement from National Weather Service saying circulation reorganizing, better defined just west of Madisonville. So it is right there along 190, just like we were talking about. And you can see right where that little area of what we call this little inflow notch that we're seeing here, again, just a little bit of potentially drier air right here. That's going to tell you that your area of circulation is going to be just to the west of that. So that's where we are, right along 190, just west of Madisonville. And it does look like it got a little disorganized for a little while, but now what the National Weather Service is saying when they say reorganizing, got a little broad, got a little messy, and hey, that's what we saw on those velocity scans, right? But now they're saying could be reforming, reorganizing just a little bit. So this is from Sam Dienst, tornado, Madisonville, Texas, so right outside Madisonville, and he's showing us that storm is still going very strong there. Funnel cloud or a tornado is still possible with this storm. So again, that one from a little while ago, this one from about 6:37, you can see this storm. This one showing the power flashes as the storm got very close to Madisonville. Did track, looks just to the west of Madisonville, which is for the best, but again, still right along Highway 190 there as it came across. So that's what we're dealing with. And again, looking in this general region right here, right along Highway 190. And remember we said it looked like the storm was getting a little disorganized. That's why it was a little harder to see. And it does look, according to the National Weather Service, that it is starting to reorganize. And you can see very dark in the vicinity of Madisonville right now. Very dark, very cloudy. And of course, it is starting to get darker anyway. We are at 7:18 now, so that is to be expected at some point anyway. But there you go. Let's go back to the radar here. Again, right here, just potentially to the northwest of Madisonville, that storm is coming across. It looks like potentially State Highway 90, if not now, then imminently, and then across 45, and then it will track on again to the northeast. So we put a track on it. It doesn't do us much because this isn't a highly populated area, but we do it just to show you where it's going and how quickly it'll get there. And again, I put the tracker on there. It's not picking up on any towns or cities, but again, these are all very rural areas. Just because our weather machine doesn't pick up on the cities being there does not mean that they're not there. If you are in the track of this storm, if you're anywhere from, say, Madisonville up through OSR and east of I-45, you need to be seeking shelter because this storm is coming that direction, coming right through. It will go through the rest of Madison County and then into Houston County, potentially cutting the corner of Leon County as well. So we'll continue to track it until it's past the OSR here and is able to get into parts of Houston County because this storm is very strong, very dangerous. We've seen lots of social media posts about it. And again, still seeing that radar indicated rotation. All right, so again, rotation. Potential tornado, potential funnel cloud just to the west, to the northwest, to the northwest of Madisonville. Continues to track off to the northeast at about 25 miles per hour. Tornado warning continues until 7:45, and this is for Madison County, and this is for Houston County at this hour. Could cut the corner of Leon County as well. Wouldn't discount that. We know that's potentially the area where Highway 7 runs through, State Highway 7. So that is worth mentioning. So why then, might you ask, is this warning cutting off at Madison County and then restarting in Houston County, but not including any of Leon County? A couple of reasons could be. One, the expectation is that the track could take it to where it doesn't impact Leon County. The other aspect of this is Madison County, Houston County are all parts of Houston's National Weather Service team, whereas Leon County is actually part of the DFW County Watch area. So what happens is perhaps one National Weather Service office perhaps is watching this as tornadic activity, and the other office could be taking more of a wait and see approach. But those are both potential options. I don't know which one it is, but definitely worth keeping an eye on here as it continues to track across Madison County. Another 25 minutes until this is either expired or allowed to continue. So we're continuing to keep an eye on it here this evening for you. And I got to tell you, some of these velocity scans are not super helpful. If I'm using Houston, this might be the most helpful. It would appear that area of rotation, like we just said, is just to the north of Madisonville, came in from the west side, moving northeast across the western half of Madisonville, now crossing Highway 90. So that's what I'd be looking at there from the Houston station, and we also saw that from our Colleen radar. Definitely looked like that would be the area of concern right now. So this is moving past Madisonville towards I-45. Should skip past Midway, should move right up through the, again, the Tri-County area there. Leon County, Madison County, OSR runs across there, runs through Normandy, creates the county line there. And so if you're near OSR, this storm is heading that direction. If you are anywhere near the Tri-County area here with Leon, Madison, and Houston counties, that again is an area that this storm is tracking right towards. Definitely worth keeping on. If you're on I-45, this storm will be moving across I-45 here momentarily. The traffic camera we keep showing you is from Highway 21. And so you can see the intersection of Highway 21 and I-45 is right there. So that camera, we showed you just how dark it looked before. And again, I said it's starting to get dark at 7:15, but really the idea is it's not going to get super dark till 8 o'clock. So let's show that camera again just to show how dark this area is right now. Yeah, it's almost as if it's nighttime. I could tell the camera just auto-irised to bring in a little bit more light, and you can see traffic moving very slowly. Everybody traveling with their hazard lights on, both directions of the highway. A little bit more traffic on the right-hand side there. So I'm looking over here at all these gas stations. You can see people pulling off the road. Probably the ideal situation. If you're stuck in this situation, if you can safely get to an establishment so that you can shelter in place, yes. However, as you see people creating lines getting to these establishments, that is obviously not ideal because then that traps you there on the roadway. So again, we're looking at I-45 from Highway 21, and this is just about a mile or so south of where we would expect this tornado to cross if it is still intact. That's the question. Is it still intact? Haven't seen any confirmation. Obviously, the last confirmation of an intact funnel cloud or tornado that we had was 6:43. It is now 7:24. So we did know for a little while this storm was losing some of its rotational energy here. We do know that it has been tightening back up just a little bit here in the recent couple of minutes. So it's entirely possible this storm could produce another funnel cloud potential tornado as it continues to cross across I-45. So let's go back to the radar here. Again, just seeing some little artifacts in our velocity scan. That would be if we were looking for a tornado based on this particular velocity radar. That is where we would be looking, sort of between 90 and 45, just to the north of 21 and 190. I do want to check just a couple of other velocity scans, though. Again, I'm feeling the same thing as I look at this one. It's going to be in this general region right here. So that's where we're looking. Let's check another one. This is what I like to do. I like to be sure. Again, same idea. This is where, if we were seeing a tornado or a funnel cloud, this is where it would be. In this general region, all three of the radars that I just pulled up indicate to me that we're somewhere in this region, kind of this triangle created by 75 or 90, by 45, and by 21, 190. So this little triangle, that's where we are right now. And you saw the camera we just showed from 21 and 45 showing this general area very dark. Let's go back to that camera again. Or the 45 and 21. It's going to be south. It's probably going to be camera, the one that has the 3 on it near Madisonville. Yep, I-45 at Highway 21. Now you can see emergency vehicles coming onto the highway. That could just be a pullover, a traffic stop, or it could be emergency vehicles in response to the weather. Again, I can't make any assumptions based on just seeing those flashing lights. Do we have any idea if this camera is facing south or north? Is there any way to know that? I know it says I-45 north. Does that mean it's facing north, or does it mean it's on the northbound side? So the headlights are northbound, taillights are southbound? Okay, that's what I'm thinking too. And you can see everybody slowing down, driving very slowly as they're continuing down I-45 because, again, this is a dangerous situation that is very close to the highway. In fact, let me look. I'm going to look real quick. I'm going to figure out where that service station is. I'm going to figure out if it's on the southbound side or the northbound side. This is where Google Maps comes in handy. Because if that's facing to the north, we could potentially see this system as it comes across. If it's facing to the south, You'd obviously be facing the wrong direction. It looks very dark in that video though, so I imagine it is, as I'm thinking about it, it might be looking northbound. Okay, so on this last scan, I'm still looking at the radar as we're doing this, as we're showing you this look. Okay, it looks like on the southbound side there is an Exxon and a Taco Bell. So pull that back up again. So it looks like, and then on the other side of the intersection is where Buc-ee's would be. So there's so much rain it's hard to tell what's over here, but there's service stations basically on all four corners. So it's a little hard to tell, but it does appear that we're looking into the storm here as it comes across I-45. Very dark, lots of rain, even if the tornado isn't currently present, even if it isn't currently producing a tornado, there's a lot of rain with this system. And it will definitely reduce visibility. Obviously could lead to some hydroplaning. Saw a few thunderbolts there as well. So again, yes, I believe we are looking into the storm. So I believe we are looking north from that intersection of 45 and 21. So this is where that storm's going to be. So at the same time, it is a little hard to tell. So again, I'm not saying anything for certain, but if we're at 21 looking north, or it just depends where the camera is, and I don't want to make any assumptions. I just want to tell you, this is a very strong storm. You can see how dark it is, how much rain is falling. So let's go back to the radar. Obviously, we're not going to be able to see much there because of the rain, but you can see that area of rotation still just to the north of Madisonville. I think we kind of lost the image there. So based on this image right here, it does look like the storm has crossed I-45. And it does look like it did just north of Madisonville. If this was producing a funnel cloud or a tornado, it would have gone over the highway just within the last few minutes. And it's right in that area we were looking at, right there at 45 and 21, just north of 21, crossing I-45, and it will continue on to the northeast here. So let's zoom out. And let's take a look at what's going on across the area. And again, there's that little inflow notch we were talking about earlier. So again, you can see that potentially the storm would be in this general region, so crossing I-45 just a little bit north of State Highway 21 / 190 there. And you can see behind this, this is what we got. And obviously, it's powerful. It's nothing to laugh about. It is a strong storm. But once this is out, you can see a lot of clearing to the west, and you can see some redevelopment, but mostly just rain showers and a few general thunderstorms to the south. And it looks like a lot of that activity is going to track east here over the next several hours. And you can see clearing, actually. If you're in central Texas, if you're watching us on the live stream right now, you're probably seeing some clearing out there right now, and that's exactly what's happening. We have this thunderstorm system moving well off to the east. So again, just a couple of strong, powerful thunderstorms left in the area that we're still tracking. Once these thunderstorms have moved out of the area, or once they have dissipated, we will conclude our severe weather coverage for the day, I believe, because it does not look like there is much behind. We have a moisture stream coming in from the south, but as we head further into the night, it's going to be difficult for these storms to pick up this sort of energy again. So this was the same chaser that sent the great video of the wedge funnel, possible tornado 4 miles west of Bedice. So he's been tracking it since Bedice. He's been tracking it since northern Grimes County. So he's been on this storm for the better part of about 15 or 20 miles, which unfortunately, because this storm's only moving at 25 miles per hour, that's been the course of about the last hour. Let's see what else we got. Large tornado north of Bedice. So again, same chaser, and that's the video. I don't think it's the same video we're looking at. He has apparently multiple videos of this storm as he tracked it from Bedice all the way up towards basically Madisonville. And again, potential funnel or tornado. And then here's Simon Brewer, massive multi-vortex tornado. You can see the multiple vortices within the actual circulation. Sometimes when these tornadoes develop, they can have multiple areas of rotation within the main housing of the tornado itself. You can see these power flashes in this video. So if this is in contact with the ground, what's happening is it's taking out power lines. It's also could be going over generators and things like that as it approached Madisonville. And then we showed you the traffic cam north of Madisonville. And then here's Sam Dean sending us a video from near Madisonville. Same system, same funnel cloud. We did see it dissipate for a little while, but those last few scans as it was approaching I-45 looked pretty tight in the rotation. So would not be surprised if we did have at least a funnel cloud crossing over I-45. Don't know that for sure, hasn't been confirmed, but based on the radar images, is entirely possible. So here we go, wide view again. You can see that is the only severe warning left for our area. We have a few flash flood, flood advisories, flash flood warnings, but this tornado warning currently on the way out of the area. This is the last super strong storm that we have in the area. You can see a little bit of a core developing in this storm that is approaching Beedies again, but this one, let's see, let's take a look inside. Because I feel like we get hung up on tornadoes and we stop talking about the other potential threats, and those other potential threats are, of course, the heavy rain, potential for hail, and we see these pink and purple shadings on our radar scans. It is entirely possible that this storm is developing a hail core, so we definitely want to take a look inside the storm. All right, in order to do that, I'm going to have to step off. Again, here's your video at Highway 21 and 45. And notice that the shadings are already brighter. So as the storm continues to move across, one of two things: either this camera has irised up to get all of the available light, or we are starting to see the sky lighten up a little bit behind the very dark clouds that were associated with that thunderstorm that crossed over I-45. Again, just checking with the National Weather Service. All right. Basically, the most recent update is just somebody from the Pinehurst Fire Department saying that this is starting to circulate across social media, which is not surprising because these wedge tornadoes are dangerous. They are also very impressive visually. So that is why they usually get pretty wide circulation on social media. And so when I'm looking at the National Weather Service's, when they continued the tornado warning just a few minutes ago, their source that they list is radar indicated. So we don't have a spotter indication that this storm is still producing a tornado. We just have our radar indication that the rotation is holding together. For one reason or the other, it is not letting me use my scope tool to look inside the storm. Let's go ahead and take a look at the video again, because I have to figure out why I can't use that tool. It's the most important tool in our arsenal right now, and it won't work. So that is not ideal. So I'm going to try something a little bit different. See if I can just set up the velocity to take over the entire image. See if it's helpful. Okay. Again, just flipping through some of these pictures and videos, you can see visually very impressive with this storm. Okay. All right. I think we might be back on track, which is good news. Okay, so here we go. So again, it looks like the core of the storm that we have been tracking with the social media indicated tornado, now tracking again across, it is tracked across I-45, now tracking basically right along Highway 21 to the northeast as it continues across Madison County. The good news is the storm appears to be away from Madisonville now, but continues to chug right along here with some radar indicated rotation. I will say these last scans, as we're looking through them, again, I'm going through the different radars. Here's Austin, here's Houston. Again, looks a little bit more murky, doesn't look quite as tight, but this one right here, the one from out of Killeen, does show potential rotation, again, north of Madisonville. But again, something that we're continuing to keep an eye on. As long as it shows signs of rotation, we know this storm has a history of producing at least a funnel cloud, if not a tornado. So extremely important to keep an eye on. Again, that tornado warning is still in effect until about 7:45. And it's a little hard to see the actual tornado warning itself because of all of the reds in the reflectivity. But again, you can kind of see the outline of it as it moves from Madisonville up towards Houston County there. So that's, again, the area that we're watching north of Madisonville right now. Again, a little bit of a messy rotation, it looks like, with some of these storms, or with this one storm right now. Could be an indication that this is weakening just a little bit. We know it was near Madisonville about a half an hour ago, so. And we were able to see on our traffic cam that it did look as if that storm was moving through the vicinity of the Highway 21 interchange. So that's what we're basing kind of all this off of, because again, some of our velocity scans just aren't the cleanest. Put this all in motion, nothing moving terribly fast, unfortunately. Again, the storm that we've been tracking all night only moving at about 25 miles per hour, but now again, across 45, now approaching Houston County, going to move through some rural areas now. So I think what we're going to do at this point, since that is the only warning left, it is past I-45, it is moving through rural communities. I think on the KAG side, we will go ahead and send you back to your program, and we'll keep the stream going here. Actually, no, we'll stay on KAGs here for at least another 4 minutes to see if this is extended. Right now, again, it looks like it really looks like the rotation has weakened, is not quite as clean. And the storm itself appears to have taken a little bit of a jog to the right, as these storms sometimes can do. That's not unusual if that happened. But again, this is, let's see, which radar site is this? This looks like Houston. Yep. Let's switch to DFW. Yeah, you can see potentially the rotation right there, right along Highway 21. Looks like maybe some rotation perhaps down near the county line there with Walker County, but I'm not sure if I would buy that. But there you go. Yeah, it looks like perhaps it's coming apart just a little bit, but we are still seeing some rotation again right along Highway 21 as it continues to move off to the northeast. So what'll be interesting here is in about 3 minutes if this tornado warning is allowed to continue or if it's allowed to expire. And at that point, if it is allowed to expire, we will definitely send KAGs back to your regularly scheduled programming. And then we'll keep the stream going until this storm exits the area for good. For sure. So again, just to recap, this is our one tornado warning right now. It is moving through Madison County. It is set to expire in about 3 minutes. It's been cycling, and what we mean when we say cycling is that circulation gets tighter. Gets a little more disorganized, gets a little bit tighter, gets a little more disorganized. We have several social media reports of spotted funnels, potential tornadoes as well. And again, when we talk about a funnel cloud versus a tornado, the reason we have to differentiate is because a funnel cloud is not in contact with the ground. It becomes a tornado once it is in contact with the ground. So that's why we sometimes hedge between the term funnel cloud and tornado, because unless we can confirm that it's on the ground causing destruction, we can't really call it a tornado. Now, we did see that this potential tornado was causing those power flashes a few minutes ago, so it's entirely possible that this was absolutely on the ground for at least a little while as it was approaching Madisonville. Now, though, as it continues to move out of the area, away from Madisonville and up towards Houston County and potentially the southeastern corner of Leon County, it does look like this storm has fallen apart just a little bit. You can see potentially that hail core starting to dissipate. Some of those telltale signs aren't necessarily there anymore. If this storm still has rotation, which it does appear to, and it does appear to be tracking right along Highway 21, if that rotation continues, because this storm has a history of producing at least a funnel cloud, if not a tornado, then it is entirely possible this could be allowed to continue. But at this point, it is moving basically into Houston County. So here in the next minute or so, we will get the answer to our question about whether or not this warning will be extended. And if it is not, I will send the folks in KAGS back to their regularly scheduled programming. Let's see, so 7:44, we just have another minute. Again, tracking right, the area of rotation is tracking right along Highway 21. That does not mean there is a tornado on Highway 21. It just means the area of the storm where that circulation would be likely is along Highway 21, between Madisonville and up towards Vistula, there in Houston County. So again, just waiting to see what decision is made, and it was allowed to cancel. So that's it. That's your tornado warning. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning back to the southwest for parts of Grimes County, and that moves into parts of Madison County as well. So let's take a look at that real quick before we go back. You can see a pretty strong storm there near Bedize. Same sort of area that the last storm went into, but it's taking a slightly different track. Instead of going up towards Madisonville, this one is tracking towards Walker County. And then up into the southeastern parts of Madison County. But again, what could be potentially a very large hail core within this storm, let's take a look. Velocity, the rotation's there, it's a little muddled. It's not exactly a clean image. The problem is, the reason there's a severe thunderstorm warning is because of this hail core that's producing, I didn't want rain. I want hail numbers. 1.4 inches. So just shy of 1.5 inches, half-dollar sized hail with this one as it continues to track to the northeast. Should cross just through Bedize or just to the south of Bedize. So if you're in Bedize or you're near Bedize, potential very large hail coming your way, so keep that in mind. But that is the end of the tornado threat for now. So at this point, if you're on KAGS, let's go ahead and get you back to your regularly scheduled programming. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Farrell for KCN and KAGS, and if anything else comes up, we'll jump back on. But for now, let's get you back to your regularly scheduled Sunday night programming. We're staying with you on the stream because we do have another pretty strong storm. It's not showing the same rotation, the same tornadic energy that the last storm did, but it is showing a very large hail core. This is one of the few times today that we've been dealing with a very large hail core. And you can see there is some rotation in the storm, potentially just there to the southwest of Bedize. But the problem with this storm right now continues to be its hail core. As we saw those purple shadings, let's get an estimate of the size. And again, this is just an estimate. This isn't the gospel. It's what our radar thinks the hail is looking like right now. And currently that's close to 2 inches. Very large hail. If you'll remember from a few weeks back, the storm that went through Salado was 2 to 2.5 inch hail when it came through. So this is very large, very damaging, and it is tracking towards Bedize. Here's the deal. It could come through Bedize here in the next several minutes. And if it does, that will bring very large hail to the town. Even if you don't get the core, these purple shadings, even along the blues, that's still 1-inch hail. That's still damaging hail. So this is going to track right over Highway 90 here just within the next few minutes. The next 4 to 5 minutes here as the storm continues to track towards Bedize. So if you're in Bedize, if you're, let's say, if you're outside, if you're listening to us on the app, the 6 Plus app or something of that nature, get indoors. That's where you need to be. Because this is very large hail. You can see in that last scan, it went down a little bit. It's still tracking towards the town, though. In fact, if you're in Bedize, probably already getting some of that sub-severe hail. The severe hail tracking, though, towards the town very quickly. The next couple of minutes, we'll see that move through town. And again, 2-inch hail, probably more like 1.75 now in the core of this storm, since it has gone down just a little bit in that last scan. But still very large, very dangerous hail. So if we're talking 1.75, and let's double check to see what we are looking at here. Yep, 1.7, 1.75. That's a golf ball. For all my golfers out there, you know how large a golf ball is. Now imagine that golf ball falling at you from a cloud from 40,000 feet. Yeah, it's very damaging, especially for your car, for your head too. So cars and garages, no traveling here for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Let it get across 90 before you have to go out. It's a Sunday night. I don't know where you'd be going anyway, but just stay indoors here for the next several minutes as this storm tracks across Highway 90 and potentially through Bedize. We are seeing it get very close to Bedize, so that is something that we're going to have to deal with for the next several minutes. Already seeing potentially some sub-severe hail within the town. Potentially up to 1 inch, but just know that larger hail is on the way here. And you can see it on our reflectivity all around this area. Anywhere you see those pink shadings, that's that large hail. Put this back in motion so you can see where everything's heading, and it is heading right through the town. So very large hail potential here if you're in Bedize. So taking a wider look here, there is a lot of moisture still behind the system, but notice the general motion of these storms has been to the east all day. There is some building to the west right now. If you look towards Leon County, Centerville, things like that, you can see it is back building to the west a little bit, but the general motion here has been to the east. You can see a lot of clearing out here, sub-severe thunderstorms, basically from Brazos County down all the way down to near Victoria, near San Antonio, those areas, all streaming to the north. But as this system continues to slide east, it should push a lot of the severe activity well off to the east. And this is not shocking. Remember, I showed you earlier this morning, about 10 o'clock this morning, I showed you that the best chances for severe weather today were going to be in the eastern portions of the Brazos Valley, and lo and behold, that's exactly where they have appeared today. Now, those 2 tornado warnings this afternoon did start in central Texas, but they did move into the Brazos Valley as well. A little concerning with this Bedize storm. It's taking on some shaping that I don't necessarily like. Let's take a look. So we know about the hail. That's going to be the first thing that comes up, because that's what we looked at last. Thankfully, it looks like a lot of the largest hail is sliding south of town, but severe hail still potentially falling in Bedize. Anywhere you see the blues, that's up to 1 inch. Okay, so it's not quite as concerning as maybe it looked from the reflectivity scans, but you can see some broad level rotation here. Not enough to warrant a tornado warning, but this storm is seeing a little bit of rotation as it moves through. And as we've been doing all night, I do want to double check a couple of different radar sites. Yeah. That one's probably not even as good. So Colleen, yeah, probably Fort Worth. Again, a little bit of rotation, broad rotation with this one. Not seeing the tight rotation like we saw up in Madisonville with what was potentially that massive funnel cloud and tornado earlier. Again, the good news, and it's a good news, bad news situation. The hail core of this storm is not going straight through the middle of town, but it is entirely likely that 2-inch hail, 1 to 2-inch hail possible in Bedize. So I told you earlier, needed to be inside the house. If you weren't then, you need to be now, because this is dangerous. This is damaging hail. This is the middle blue color. That's going to be your 1-inch hail, up to about 2-inch hail with the lighter purple shadings in the middle. Thankfully, it looks like the 2-inch hail is sliding just to the south, but again, 1.75, that's still a golf ball. That's still moving through town. This will continue to move through for the next 5 or 6 minutes or so, and then we'll continue to slide off towards Walker County. And at that point, once this storm slides into Walker County, we should be getting late enough into the evening, and we should have turned over the atmosphere enough at that point that we can probably bring an end to our daily weather coverage. Because again, the strongest storms have all shifted east. Currently, other than the Bedize storm, we are currently severe thunderstorm warning free. We remain under a flood threat, and of course, as long as these rains continue through the rest of the evening, we will remain under a flood threat because it has rained so much today in several different areas. In a way, good news for the Brazos Valley. They've been a minute since the Brazos Valley has seen really solid, beneficial rain. The bad news, of course, though, it is late April, about to be early May, so of course we get the severe weather that comes along with it as well. I keep our hail tracker open. So obviously that's the story with this particular storm. Again, starting to slide east of town now, but the actual town of Bedize is dealing with some very large hailstones likely over the last about 15 to 20 minutes. So we'll let that run here as that hail core continues to move through the middle of town.